This isn't a philosophical lecture, it's a hands-on guide. It's for people who need money now, not someday. For those who want to build wealth first, and maybe ponder life's deeper questions later. It's for action takers, not theorists. If you're ready to accept proven principles and act on them without hesitation, this is for you. You're not expected to dissect every detail, just trust the core ideas and move forward with confidence. Anyone who does that will absolutely become wealthy. The method here is based on exact science. Failure isn't part of the equation. The language is clear and simple, so anyone can follow. The steps laid out come from deep philosophical insights, but they've been tested in real life. And most importantly, they work. Let's talk about your right to be rich. No matter how people romanticize poverty, the truth is, you can't live a full, successful life without wealth. You can't reach your highest potential, mentally, spiritually, or creatively, without access to the things that help you grow. And those things cost money. We live in a world where progress depends on resources. And to access those resources, you need money. So, learning how to create wealth isn't just useful, it's essential. Life's purpose is growth. Everything alive has the right to become everything it's capable of becoming. Your right to live includes the right to freely access everything you need for full mental, spiritual, and physical development. In other words, you have the right to be rich. This isn't about metaphorical wealth. Real wealth means having more than just the basics. You're not meant to settle for less when you're capable of more. Nature's goal is expansion, beauty, and abundance, and you deserve all of it. Settling for less is a denial of life's purpose. A person who has everything they need to live the way they truly want is rich. Without money, you can't have everything you desire. Life today is expensive and complex. Even the most ordinary person needs significant wealth to live fully. Every human being naturally wants to become all they're capable of becoming. That desire is built into us. We can't help but strive for it. Success means becoming the person you're meant to be. And to do that, you need things. To freely access those things, you need money. That's why mastering the science of wealth creation is one of the most important things you can do. There's nothing wrong with wanting to be rich. In fact, it's a noble desire. Wanting a richer, fuller, more abundant life is healthy. If someone doesn't want that, something's off. It's perfectly normal to want enough money to buy what you need and enjoy life. We live for three things: the body, the mind, and the soul. None of these is more sacred than the others. They're all equally important. And none can thrive if the others are neglected. It's not noble to live only for the soul while ignoring the body, only for intellect while denying physical or emotional needs. We've all seen the damage caused by living only for the body and ignoring the mind and soul. True living means expressing everything you are, physically, mentally, and spiritually. No one can be truly happy if any part of them is stifled. Where there's unused potential, there's dissatisfaction. Desire is simply potential seeking expression. To live fully in the body, you need good food, comfortable clothes, a safe home, and freedom from exhausting labor. You also need rest and relaxation. To live fully in the mind, you need books and time to read them. You need to travel, observe, and engage in thoughtful conversation. You need art, beauty, and intellectual stimulation. To live fully in the soul, you need love. And poverty blocks love from being fully expressed. The greatest joy comes from giving to those you love. The most natural expression of love is giving. If you have nothing to give, you can't fully show up as a partner, a parent, a citizen, or a human being. Through material things, we nourish the body, expand the mind, and open the soul. That's why being rich isn't just desirable, it's vital. It's absolutely right to want wealth. If you're a healthy, normal person, you can't help but want it. And it's absolutely right to focus your energy on learning how to create it. It's one of the most honorable and necessary pursuits. Ignoring it means neglecting your duty to yourself, to God, and to humanity. Because the greatest service you can offer is to become everything you're capable of becoming. There is a science to getting rich. And it's not vague or mystical, it's as precise as math. Just like algebra or arithmetic, there are specific laws that govern the process of acquiring wealth. If someone understands and follows these laws, they will become rich with mathematical certainty. Money and property come to those who act in a particular way. Whether someone does it intentionally or by chance, if they follow this pattern, they become wealthy. If they don't, no matter how smart or hard-working they are, they stay broke. Same causes always produce same effects. That's nature's law. So anyone who learns to act in this specific way will, without a doubt, become rich. Let's look at the facts. Wealth doesn't come from your environment. If it did, entire neighborhoods or cities would be rich, while others would be poor. One state would be overflowing with wealth, and the next one would be struggling. But that's not what we see. Rich and poor people live side by side. Often, they work in the same field, in the same town. If two people are in the same business, in the same location, and one gets rich while the other doesn't, that proves the environment isn't the deciding factor. Sure, some places might offer better opportunities, but when people are neighbors and do the same work, and only one succeeds, it's clear, wealth comes from acting in a certain way. Plenty of brilliant people stay poor, while others with average abilities become wealthy. When we study those who've built wealth, we find they're often ordinary. They don't have exceptional skills or genius-level intellect. They got rich not because of who they are, but because of how they act. Wealth isn't the result of saving every penny, either. Many frugal people remain poor, while others who spend freely become rich. It's not about doing something others can't. Sometimes two people run nearly identical businesses, and one thrives while the other fails. That tells us, success isn't about the business itself, it's about the way you operate. So we come to a clear conclusion: getting rich is the result of a specific way of doing things. And if that's true, if the same actions always lead to the same results, then anyone who learns and applies this method can become wealthy. That makes it a science. Now, you might wonder, is this method so difficult that only a few can follow it? Not at all. We've seen that people of all kinds become rich, smart and not so smart, strong and weak, healthy and sick. You do need some ability to think and understand, of course. But if you're sharp enough to read and grasp these words, you absolutely have what it takes. We've already ruled out environment. Yes, location matters. You probably won't build a thriving business in the middle of the Sahara. You need to be where people are, where business happens. And if people in your city or state are getting rich, then so can you. It's also not about choosing the right profession. People get rich in every kind of business, while others in the same field stay poor. Of course, you'll do better in work that suits you, something you enjoy and that aligns with your strengths. If you've got specific talents, it makes sense to use them. And yes, your business should fit your location. Ice cream sells better in warm climates than in Greenland. Salmon fishing works better in the Northeast than in Florida. But aside from these general factors, wealth doesn't depend on what you do, it depends on how you do it. If someone in your area is doing the same work and getting rich while you're not, it's because they're acting in a way you're not. Lack of capital doesn't stop anyone from becoming rich. Sure, having money makes it easier to grow more money. But if you already have capital, you're already rich, you don't need this guide. It doesn't matter how broke you are. If you start acting in this specific way, you'll begin to attract wealth. Capital will come. It's part of the process, part of the result of following the method. You could be the poorest person on the continent, drowning in debt, with no connections, no influence, and no resources. But if you start acting in this way, you will begin to grow rich, because same causes always produce same effects. No capital. You'll get it. Wrong business. You'll find the right one. You'll move to the wrong location. And you'll do all of that by aligning yourself with the laws that govern the universe. That's where success begins. Is opportunity monopolized? Absolutely not. No one stays poor because others have hoarded all the wealth or locked it behind gates. Sure, you might not be able to break into certain industries, but countless other paths are wide open. Opportunity moves in waves. At different times, it flows in different directions, depending on society's needs and the stage of development we're in. There's always abundance for those who ride the wave instead of fighting against it. So no, workers, whether as individuals or as a class, aren't cut off from opportunity. Their progress isn't blocked by bosses, corporations, or big business. As a group, they're where they are because they haven't yet learned to act in the specific way that leads to wealth. The working class can absolutely become the leading class, once they start acting in that way. The laws of wealth apply to them just as they do to everyone else. They need to understand this. Until they do, they'll stay where they are. But one worker isn't held back by the ignorance of the whole group. Anyone can catch the wave of opportunity, and this guide shows how. No one is poor because there's not enough wealth to go around. There's more than enough for everyone. Just the building materials in the United States alone could construct a palace for every family on Earth, bigger than the Capitol in Washington. And with modern farming, the country could produce enough wool, cotton, linen, and silk to clothe every person more lavishly than Solomon in all his glory, and feed them like royalty. The visible supply is practically endless. The invisible supply is truly infinite. Everything you see is made from one original substance. New forms are constantly emerging, old ones fading, but it's all just different shapes of the same material. There's no limit to the supply of this formless substance, the raw material of everything. The universe is made from it, but not all of it was used up in creation. The spaces between and within all visible things are filled with this original matter. It's the raw stuff of everything. 10,000 times more could be created than what already exists, and even then, the supply wouldn't run dry. So no one is poor because nature is poor. Nature is an endless source of wealth. The supply will never run out. This raw material is bursting with creative energy, constantly forming new things. When we run out of building materials, more will be made. When the soil is depleted, it will be renewed, or new soil will be created. When all the gold and silver is mined, and if humanity still needs it, more will be formed from the formless. This substance responds to human need. It won't let the world go without. This applies to humanity as a whole. The human race is abundantly wealthy. It's because they haven't yet learned the way that leads to personal wealth. This formless substance is intelligent, it thinks. It's alive and always moving toward more life. It's a natural impulse of life to want to expand. It's the nature of mind to grow, the nature of consciousness to stretch its boundaries and seek fuller expression. The universe of forms was created by this living, thinking substance shaping itself to express more of itself. The universe is a vast, living system, always striving for greater life and richer activity. Nature was designed to enhance life. Its driving force is growth. That's why anything that supports life is generously provided. There can be no shortage, because the Creator doesn't contradict himself or destroy his own work. You're not poor because there's a lack of wealth. And soon, I'll show you how even the resources of this formless substance become available to anyone who thinks and acts in a certain way. The first principle of the science of getting rich. Thought is the only power that can shape real material wealth from formless substance. The stuff everything is made of, this thinking matter, responds to thought. A thought of form creates form. This original substance moves according to its thoughts. Every shape and process in nature is a visible expression of thought in this matter. When it thinks of a form, it becomes that form. When it thinks of movement, it moves. That's how everything was created. We live in a world of thought, part of a universe of thought. The idea of a moving universe spread through the formless substance, and the thinking matter, responding to that idea, formed planetary systems and keeps them in motion. Thinking matter takes the shape of its thought and moves accordingly. By holding the idea of spinning suns and worlds, it forms those bodies and moves them as it imagines. Thinking of a slowly growing oak, it moves in that pattern and creates the tree. Even if it takes centuries. Creation seems to follow patterns it has already set. In other words, the thought of an oak doesn't instantly produce a full-grown tree, but it activates forces that grow the tree according to established rhythms. Every thought of form held in thinking matter produces form, usually in line with existing patterns of growth and action. A thought of a specific house design, impressed upon formless substance, might not instantly build the house, but it could direct creative energy already flowing through commerce and industry into channels that lead to its rapid construction. And if no such channels exist, the house would be formed directly from the raw substance, without waiting for slow organic or mechanical processes. A thought impressed upon formless substance always leads to the creation of that form. We generate thoughts. Every physical object we shape with our hands first exists in our minds. You can't create something until you've imagined it. But humanity has mostly focused on manual labor, working with existing forms, reshaping and modifying what's already there. We rarely consider creating something entirely new by impressing our thoughts directly onto formless substance. When we imagine a form, we usually borrow from nature, crafting a mental image based on what we've already seen. But very few people make any effort to collaborate with the intelligence of the formless, to work with the Father, so to speak. We don't even dream that we could do what the Father does. Instead, we just rework what exists, never asking whether we could create something new by transmitting our thoughts to the raw substance of the universe. But we're here to prove that you can. Anyone can. And we'll show you how. First, we need to lay down 3 foundational truths. There is one original substance from which everything is made. All the diversity we see in nature, living and non-living, is just different expressions of the same material. This substance is thinking matter. Thought within it creates form. A thought held in thinking matter becomes reality. Human beings are thinking centers. We can generate creative thoughts. And if we can transmit those thoughts to the original substance, we can cause the creation of what we imagine. Let's summarize. There is a thinking substance that makes up everything and fills all space in the universe. Thought in this substance creates the thing imagined. A person can form things in their mind, and by impressing those thoughts upon the formless substance, cause them to become real. You might ask, can you prove this? And while we won't dive into every detail here, yes, I can prove it both logically and practically. If we reason backward from the existence of form and thought, we arrive at the original thinking substance. If we reason forward from that substance, we arrive at the human ability to create what we think about. And through experimentation, we find that this reasoning holds up. That's the best kind of proof. If someone becomes wealthy by doing exactly what this guide teaches, that supports the claim. But if anyone who follows these steps becomes wealthy, then that's undeniable proof, unless someone tries it and fails. A theory stands until the process breaks down. But this process doesn't fail. Everyone who does exactly what this guide instructs will become rich. I've said people get rich by acting in a certain way. But to act that way, you must first learn to think that way. How you act is a direct result of how you think. So if you want to do things in a certain way, you must first learn to think in a certain way. That's the first step toward wealth. Thinking about what you want means thinking truth, regardless of ability to think about what they want. But it takes far more effort than thinking about what the world shows you. It's easy to think in line with appearances. It's hard to think truth in spite of them. And it takes more energy than almost any other kind of work. No task is avoided more than sustained, focused thinking. It's the hardest work there is, especially when truth contradicts what you see. Every appearance in the visible world tends to trigger a matching thought in your mind. The only way to resist that is to hold firmly to the truth. If you see poverty, it will create images of lack in your mind, unless you hold to the truth that poverty doesn't exist, only abundance does. Thinking about health while surrounded by sickness, or thinking about wealth while seeing poverty, takes strength. But the person who develops that strength becomes a mastermind. They rise above circumstance and shape their own reality. This strength comes only from focusing on one simple fact: there is a single thinking substance from which everything is made. Then, we must grasp the truth that every thought held in this substance becomes form, and that we can transmit our thoughts to it, causing them to take shape and become visible things. Once we understand this, doubt and fear vanish. We know we can create what we want. We can have what we desire. We can become who we're meant to be. So, as the first step toward wealth, you must fully accept these three core truths. There is a thinking substance that makes up everything and fills all space in the universe. Thought in this substance creates the thing imagined. A person can form things in their mind, and by impressing those thoughts upon the formless substance, cause them to become real. You must set aside all other ideas about the universe and focus on this one until it becomes second nature. Listen to these truths over and over. Memorize every word. Meditate on them until you believe them completely. If doubts creep in, push them out. Don't entertain arguments against this idea. Avoid lectures or teachings that promote opposing views. If your beliefs get tangled, your efforts will be wasted. Don't ask why it's true or how it could be true. Just accept it. The science of getting rich begins with absolute acceptance of this foundation. The expanding life. Let go of any lingering belief that some divine force wants you to be poor, or that it's part of some higher plan to keep you struggling. The thinking substance that lives in everything, that fills all space, and that lives in you, is conscious, living matter. And as conscious life, it must carry the same natural drive found in every living mind, the urge to grow. Every living thing is wired to expand. It's a law of life, life must multiply itself. A seed planted in the ground springs into action and produces hundreds more. Life, by its nature, grows. It must grow to continue existing. Every thought leads to another. Awareness keeps expanding. Every fact we learn opens the door to another. Knowledge grows. Every skill we develop sparks the desire to develop another. We're driven by life itself, seeking expression, always pushing us to know more, do more, become more. And to know more, do more, and be more, we must have more. We need things to work with, because we learn, act, and evolve through using things. That's why we must become rich, so we can live more fully. The desire for wealth is simply the capacity for a fuller life trying to express itself. Every desire is an attempt by unexpressed potential to come into action. It's life itself, reaching for more. This living substance is governed by that same law. It's filled with the desire to live more. That's why it creates. It wants to live more in you and through you. So it wants you to have everything you can use. God wants you to be rich. He wants you to be rich because through your abundance, He can express Himself more fully. The more you have, the more channels you open for divine expression. He can live more completely in you when you have full access to the resources of life. The universe wants you to have everything you desire. Nature supports your plans. Everything is born for you. Believe it. Let it sink in. But it's important that your goal aligns with the universal purpose. You must want real life, not just pleasure or indulgence. Life means fulfilling every function, physical, mental, and spiritual. True living happens when you express all parts of yourself, without excess in any one area. You don't want wealth just to live like an animal, chasing base desires. That's not life. But fulfilling healthy physical needs is part of life, and denying the body's natural expressions is denying life itself. You don't want wealth only for intellectual pleasures, knowledge, ambition, fame. These are natural parts of life, but living only for the mind is incomplete. You'll never feel truly fulfilled that way. You don't want wealth only to help others, sacrificing yourself for humanity, chasing the joy of giving. The joys of the soul are just one part of life, not better or nobler than the rest. You want wealth to eat, drink, and celebrate when the time is right. To surround yourself with beauty. To travel and feed your mind. To love others and do good. To contribute meaningfully to the search for truth. But remember, pure altruism is no better than pure selfishness. Both extremes miss the mark. Let go of the idea that God wants you to sacrifice yourself for others. That's not His plan. What God wants is for you to do all you can, for yourself and for others. And the best way to help others is to become the best version of yourself. You can only do that by becoming rich. So your first and highest priority should be to acquire wealth. That's not selfish, it's wise. The thinking substance seeks greater life for all. Its actions must lead to more life for everyone. It cannot be made to act in ways that diminish life, because it seeks abundance equally in all things. This intelligent substance will create for you, but it won't take from someone else to do it. So you must eliminate all thoughts of competition. You're here to create, not to compete over what's already created. Don't take from others. Don't make dishonest deals. Don't cheat or deceive. Don't underpay people who work for you. Don't covet someone else's property or look at it with envy. There's nothing anyone has that you can't also have, without taking it from them. Be a creator, not a competitor. You'll get what you want, and those around you will gain more too. Yes, some people have amassed great fortunes by doing the opposite of what I've just said. Let's address that. Some became wealthy through extreme competitive skill. Others unknowingly aligned with the substance's larger purpose, helping organize industry during the rise of the industrial age. Rockefeller, Carnegie, Morgan, they were unconscious agents of a higher plan, helping build the framework of modern production. Their work will ultimately benefit everyone. But their era is ending. They were like the giant reptiles of prehistory, necessary for evolution, but destined to be replaced. And let's be honest, they were never truly rich. Their personal lives reveal misery and emptiness. Wealth gained through competition is never enough, and never secure. Today it's yours, tomorrow it's gone. If you want to become rich through the scientific, reliable method, you must completely abandon competitive thinking. Never, even for a moment, believe that the supply is limited. The moment you think others have taken all the money, and you must fight to claim your share, you've stepped back into the competitive mindset, and your creative power shuts down. Worse, you may even block the creative flow you've already started. Know this, there are mountains filled with gold worth billions, still untouched. And even if that weren't true, more would be created from thinking substance to meet your needs. Know this, the money you need will come, even if it means thousands of people discover new gold mines tomorrow. Never focus on the visible supply. Always look to the infinite wealth of formless substance, and know that it's flowing to you at the speed you're able to receive and use it. No one can block what's meant for you. So never let yourself think, even for a second, that if you don't hurry, all the best opportunities will be taken. Never fear that someone else will steal your dream. That simply can't happen. You don't want what someone else has. You're creating what you want from formless substance, and the supply is limitless. There is a thinking substance that makes up everything and fills all space in the universe. Thought in this substance creates the thing imagined. A person can form things in their mind, and by impressing those thoughts upon the formless substance, cause them to become real. How wealth comes to you. When I say you shouldn't make dishonest deals, I don't mean you shouldn't do business at all or that you should avoid transactions with others. I mean you must never deal unfairly. You shouldn't take something for nothing, but you can give every person more value than you receive. You may not always give more in terms of money, but you can always give more in terms of usefulness. Imagine I own a painting by a great master, worth thousands of dollars in a developed society. I travel to Baffin Bay and trade it to a local resident for a bundle of furs worth $500. That's a dishonest deal, because the painting has no practical value to him. It adds nothing to his life. But suppose I trade those same furs for a $50 rifle. Now that's a fair deal. He can use the rifle. It will help him gather more furs, hunt food, and improve his life. It will make him richer. When you rise from the competitive mindset to the creative one, you begin to examine your business practices with clarity. If you're selling something that doesn't add more to someone's life than what they give you in return, you have every right to stop. Don't deceive anyone in business. And if you're in a business that does, leave it immediately. Always give more useful value than you receive in money. That way, every transaction enriches the world. If you have employees, you may receive more in monetary value than you pay in wages, but you can structure your business around progress. That way, every worker has the opportunity to grow a little more each day. Your business can do for your employees what this guide does for you. You can build a business that acts like a ladder, where anyone willing to climb can reach wealth. If someone doesn't take the opportunity, that's not your fault. And remember, just because you're creating wealth from formless substance doesn't mean it will appear out of thin air in front of you. If you need a sewing machine, I'm not saying you'll manifest one instantly in your living room. But if you need it, hold the image of it clearly in your mind, with full confidence that it's being made or already on its way to you. Once you've formed the thought, embrace absolute faith that the machine is coming. Never speak or think of it in any other way. Treat it as something already yours. It will come to you through the power of higher intelligence, working through the minds of others. You might live in Maine, and someone in Texas or Japan may be involved in the transaction that brings it to you. And if that happens, it will benefit them just as much as it benefits you. Substance fills everything, connects everything, and influences everything. Its drive for fuller life created all sewing machines, and can create millions more. It will do so when people activate it through desire, faith, and action. You can have a sewing machine, or anything else you truly want and can use to improve your life and the lives of others. Don't hesitate to ask for much. It is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom, said Jesus. The original substance wants to live through everything that's possible for you. It wants you to have everything you can use to live the richest life imaginable. If you focus on the truth that your desire for wealth is aligned with the universe's desire to express itself more fully, your faith will be unshakable. I once saw a young boy sitting at a piano, struggling to play. He was frustrated and upset that he couldn't produce real music. I asked him why he was so discouraged, and he said, "I hear the music inside, but I can't make my hands play it." That music inside him was the impulse of original substance, holding all the possibilities of life. All its music was trying to express itself through that child. God, the living substance, wants to live, create, and enjoy through humanity. He says, "I want my hands to build beautiful structures, play divine music, paint magnificent art. I want my feet to walk where I choose, my eyes to behold beauty, my mouth to speak truth and sing glorious songs." This is possibility seeking expression through people. God wants those who can play to have instruments, and the means to master their talent. He wants those who appreciate beauty to be surrounded by it. He wants truth seekers to have every opportunity to travel and observe. He wants those who love elegance to wear beautiful clothes, and those who enjoy good food to be richly nourished. He wants all this because he himself enjoys it. It's his creation. It's God who wants to play, sing, admire beauty, speak truth, wear fine garments, and savor delicious meals. It is God who works in you, both to will and to act, said the Apostle Paul. The desire for wealth you feel is infinity seeking expression through you, just like the music inside that boy at the piano. So don't be afraid to ask for more. Your duty is to focus and express that desire to God. For many, this is difficult. They cling to old beliefs that poverty and self-sacrifice please God. They see poverty as part of the plan, a necessity of nature. They think God has finished his work, that he's done all he can, and most people must remain poor due to limited resources. They've lived with these false ideas so long, they feel ashamed to ask for wealth. They try not to want more than a modest, minimal comfort. I remember a student who was told to form a clear mental image of what he wanted, so the creative thought could be impressed upon formless substance. Renting a small home, living paycheck to paycheck. He couldn't grasp the idea that all wealth was already his. So after thinking it through, he decided to ask for a new rug for his best room and a coal stove to heat the house. Following the instructions in this guide, he received both within a few months. Then it hit him, he hadn't asked for enough. He walked through the house and imagined every improvement he wanted. He added a window here, a room there, until he had a full mental picture of his ideal home. Then he visualized the interior details. Holding that image in his mind, he began living in a certain way, and moving toward his vision. Today, he owns the house and is remodeling it to match the picture he created. And with growing faith, he continues to receive more. It came to him through his belief. And the same is true for you, and for all of us. Gratitude. The examples in the previous chapter were meant to show you one essential truth. The first step toward becoming rich is to impress your desires upon the formless substance. And that's absolutely true. But to do it effectively, you must align yourself, harmoniously, with the intelligence of that formless substance. Achieving this harmony is vital. So let's take a moment to explore how to do it. If you follow these instructions, they will bring your mind into complete unity with the higher power, what some call God. The entire process of mental alignment can be summed up in one word: gratitude. First, you believe that there is one intelligent substance from which everything is made. Second, you believe that this substance gives you everything you desire. Third, you connect with it through deep, heartfelt gratitude. Many people live rightly in every other way, yet remain poor simply because they lack gratitude. They receive a gift from God, and then cut the connection by forgetting to express thanks. It's easy to understand. The closer you live to the source of wealth, the richer you become. And a soul that is constantly grateful lives closer to God than one that never acknowledges him. The more gratitude you feel when something good comes your way, the more good you'll receive, and the faster it will arrive. Why? Because gratitude brings your mind into closer contact with the source of all blessings. If the idea that gratitude aligns you with the creative energies of the universe is new to you, take a closer look. You'll see it's true. The good you already have came to you through specific laws. Gratitude keeps your mind on the path where those laws operate. It keeps you in harmony with creative thought and protects you from slipping into competitive thinking. Only gratitude allows you to see the whole picture. It stops you from making the mistake of believing that supply is limited, a belief that would sabotage your progress. There is a law of gratitude. And if you want to receive the results you're aiming for, you must follow that every action has an equal and opposite reaction. When your mind sends out a wave of thankful praise to the higher intelligence, it releases energy. That energy reaches its destination, and the response is a movement of good things toward you. Draw near to God, and He will draw near to you. That's not just spiritual poetry, it's psychological truth. If your gratitude is strong and steady, the response from the formless substance will be strong and steady. The things you desire will always move toward you. Notice how Jesus always seemed to say, "I thank you, Father, that you hear me." You cannot develop great power without gratitude, because gratitude is what connects you to power. But gratitude isn't just about future blessings. Without it, you won't be able to resist negative thoughts about your current circumstances. The moment you let your mind dwell on dissatisfaction, you begin to lose ground. You start focusing on the ordinary, the simple, the poor, the pitiful, the mediocre, and your mind takes on the shape of those things. Then you impress those thoughts onto the formless substance, and guess what? The ordinary, the poor, the pitiful, and the mediocre show up in your life. Letting your mind dwell on the worst means becoming it, and surrounding yourself with it. But focusing on the best means becoming it, and attracting it. The creative force within us aligns us with the image we hold in our attention. We are made of thinking substance, and thinking substance always takes the shape of what it thinks about. A grateful mind is always focused on the best. So it naturally becomes better. It takes on the quality of the best, and receives the best. Gratitude breeds faith. A grateful mind always expects good things, and expectation becomes belief. The response to gratitude is faith. Every wave of thankfulness strengthens it. A person who doesn't feel gratitude can't hold on to living faith for long. And without living faith, as we'll see in the next chapters, you cannot become rich through creative means. You must develop the habit of being grateful for every good thing that comes your way, and express thanks constantly. Since everything has contributed to your progress, include everything in your gratitude. Don't waste time complaining about the flaws or failures of those in power. Their organization of the world has created your opportunity. Everything you have came through them. Don't be angry at corrupt politicians. Without them, we'd fall into chaos, and your chances would shrink dramatically. God has worked long and patiently to bring us to where we are, with industry and government, and He continues that work. There's no doubt He will remove the plutocrats, the monopolists, the industrial barons, and the political manipulators when they're no longer needed. But for now, they serve a purpose. Remember, they help organize the channels through which wealth flows to you. Gratitude will bring you into harmony with the good in everything, and the good in everything will begin moving toward you. Thinking in a certain way. Go back to chapter 6 and revisit the story of the man who created a mental image of his ideal home. That's your first real step toward wealth. You must form a clear, specific mental picture of what you want. You can't transmit an idea until you truly possess it. You must have it in your mind before you can give it to the formless substance. Many people fail to impress their thoughts upon it simply because their desires are vague and undefined. They don't really know what they want to do, have, or become. Just wanting wealth, to live comfortably, isn't enough. Everyone wants that. It's not enough to say you'd like to travel, see the world, live longer, or enjoy life more. Everyone wants those things too. If you were sending a message to a friend, you wouldn't just send random letters and expect them to form a sentence. You'd send a clear, meaningful message. The same goes for impressing your desires upon the thinking substance. You must do it with clarity. You need to know exactly what you want and express it with precision. You'll never become rich, or activate creative energy, by sending out vague wishes and fuzzy intentions. Walk through your desires the way that man walked through his house. See only what you truly want. Create a vivid mental image of it, exactly as it will look when it becomes real. That image must live in your mind constantly. Like a sailor who keeps his destination in sight, you must stay focused on your vision. Don't lose sight of it, just as a captain never loses sight of the compass. You don't need to practice concentration, set aside special prayer hours, or perform mystical rituals. Some of those practices are fine, but all you really need is to know what you want, and want it strongly enough that it stays in your thoughts. Spend as much free time as you can contemplating your vision. No one needs exercises to focus on something they truly desire. It takes effort only to focus on things you don't care about. Until you genuinely want to be rich, until that desire is strong enough to keep your thoughts fixed on your goal like a compass needle pointing north, you're not ready to follow the instructions in this guide. The methods here are for people whose desire for wealth is strong enough to overcome mental laziness and the craving for ease, and push them into action. The clearer and more detailed your mental picture, the longer you dwell on it and explore its delightful details, the stronger your desire will grow. And the stronger your desire, the easier it will be to keep your mind focused on what you want. But clarity alone isn't enough. If all you do is visualize, you're just a dreamer, and dreamers rarely see results. Behind your vision must be a firm intention to bring it into reality. Must be unwavering faith that it's already yours, that it's near, and all you need to do is claim it. Live mentally in your new home until it takes physical shape. In the realm of thought, own everything you desire. Whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you have received it, and it will be yours, said Jesus. See the things you want as if they already surround you. See yourself owning and using them. Use them in your imagination just as you will when they're physically yours. Hold your mental picture until it becomes clear and vivid, then mentally step into ownership of everything in it. Become the owner in your mind, with full confidence that it's already yours. Stay in that mental ownership. Never let go of the belief that it's real. And remember what was said in the chapter on gratitude: be constantly thankful, just as you will be when it takes form. A person who can sincerely thank God for what they only possess in imagination has true faith. That person will become rich. They will cause the creation of what they desire. You don't need to pray repeatedly for what you want. You don't need to tell God about it every day. Your task is to mentally formulate your desire, something that contributes to greater life, shape it into a coherent vision, and impress it upon the formless substance, which has both the power and the will to give you what you ask for. This impression isn't made by repeating words. You do it by holding your vision with unwavering focus and firm faith that you will achieve it. The response to prayer doesn't match your words, it matches your belief in action. You can't impress the mind of God by setting aside one day a week to tell him what you want, then forgetting about it the rest of the time. You can't impress him by praying at specific hours if you ignore him between those hours. Verbal prayer is good, it's helpful, especially for you. It clarifies your vision and strengthens your faith. But it's not your words that bring results. To become rich, you don't need scheduled prayer, you need to pray without ceasing. And by prayer, I mean constantly holding your vision, with the intention to bring it into form, and the faith that you are doing exactly that. Believe that you have received it. Once you've formed your vision clearly, everything depends on receiving. After you've shaped it, it's good to verbally thank the higher power. Then you must mentally receive what you've asked for. Live in your new home. Wear beautiful clothes. Drive your car. Travel, and confidently plan even greater adventures. Think and speak about everything you've asked for as if you already own it. Picture your environment and financial situation exactly as you want them, and live in that picture until it becomes physical reality. But remember, you're not doing this as a dreamer or a builder of castles in the sky. Maintain faith that the imagined becomes real, and the intention to scientist from the dreamer, faith and intention applied to imagination. Once you understand this, you must learn to use your will correctly. How to use your will. To begin creating wealth scientifically, you must never try to use your willpower on anything, or anyone, outside yourself. You simply don't have the right. It's unjust to use your will to force another person to do what you want. Trying to control people mentally is just as wrong as doing it physically. If forcing someone with brute strength is slavery, then manipulating them with mental force is no different, it's just a change of method. Taking something from someone by physical force is robbery, taking it through mental coercion is still robbery. The principle is the same. You don't have the right to impose your will on another person, even for their own good, because you don't truly know what's best for them. The science of getting rich doesn't require you to exert power or control over anyone. In fact, any attempt to do so will sabotage your success. You don't need to use your will to force things to come to you. That would be like trying to bully God, and it's both foolish and pointless. You don't need to force God to give you blessings, any more than you need to use willpower to make the sun rise. You don't need to battle a hostile deity or command rebellious forces to obey you. The substance of the universe is friendly to you, and more eager than you are to give you what you want. To become rich, you only need to apply your will to yourself. Once you know what to think and what to do, use your will to keep yourself thinking and acting in the right way. That's the proper use of will, to keep yourself on course. Use your will to think and act in a certain way. Don't try to project your will, thoughts, or mind outward to influence people or things. Keep your mind at home, because that's where it does its best work. Use your mind to create a clear mental image of what you want, and hold that image with faith and purpose. Then use your will to keep your mind working in the right direction. The stronger and steadier your faith and purpose, the faster you'll become rich, because you're sending only positive impressions to the formless substance, without canceling them out with negative ones. Your mental picture, combined with faith and purpose, is received by the formless substance and spreads across vast distances, throughout the universe, as far as we know. As this impression spreads, everything begins to move toward its fulfillment. Every living being, every object, even things not yet created, begin to align with your desire. All power starts working toward your goal. Everything begins moving toward you. Minds everywhere are influenced to do what's needed to bring your vision to life, often without even realizing they're doing it. But you can block all of this by sending negative and push things away from you just as surely as faith and purpose draw them in. Most people don't understand this, and that's where they stumble. Every moment spent in doubt, fear, or worry sends a current away from you into the field of intelligent substance. Because faith is so critical, you must guard your thoughts carefully. And since your thoughts are shaped by what you observe and focus on, you must be intentional about where you place your attention. This is where your will comes in, because it's your will that determines what you focus on. If you want to become rich, you must not study poverty. You can't create something by thinking about its opposite. You won't get health by studying disease. You won't grow virtue by obsessing over sin. And no one has ever become wealthy by thinking about poverty. Medicine, as a science of disease, has expanded disease. Religion, as a science of sin, has spread sin. Economics, as a study of poverty, has brought more hardship and lack. Don't talk about poverty. Don't analyze it. Don't get upset about it. It doesn't matter what causes it, you have nothing to do with that. What matters to you is the cure. Don't waste time on so-called charitable work or movements. Most charity only reinforces the very misery it aims to eliminate. I'm not saying you should be cold-hearted or ignore the cries of those in need. But you shouldn't try to eradicate poverty using conventional methods. Leave poverty behind, and do good. Become rich. That's the best way you can help the poor. And you won't be able to hold the mental image that will make you rich if your mind is filled with pictures of poverty and suffering. Don't watch films or scroll through social media that showcase the horrors of slums, child labor, or human misery. Don't consume anything that fills your mind with bleak images of lack and pain. You can't help the poor by knowing all the details of their suffering. And spreading that information doesn't solve poverty, it perpetuates it. The way to end poverty isn't by filling your mind with images of it, but by filling the minds of the poor with images of wealth, abundance, and possibility. You're not abandoning the poor when you refuse to let their despair into your mind. Poverty will be eliminated not by increasing the number of wealthy people thinking about poverty, but by increasing the number of poor people who, with faith, intend to become rich. The poor don't need charity, they need inspiration. Charity gives them a crust of bread to survive in their misery, or a moment of distraction to forget it. But inspiration can lift them out of it entirely. If you want to help the poor, show them they can become rich. Prove it, by becoming rich yourself. The only way poverty will ever be permanently eliminated from the world is through the presence of a large and growing number of people practicing the principles in this guide. People must be taught how to become rich through creation. Anyone who becomes rich through competition pulls up the ladder behind them and leaves others stuck below. But anyone who becomes rich through creation opens the path for thousands, and inspires them to follow. You're not being cruel by refusing to dwell on poverty, read about it, talk about it, or listen to those who do. Use your will to keep your mind away from poverty, and focused with faith and purpose on the vision of what you want and what you are creating. Further use of willpower. You cannot maintain a clear and accurate vision of wealth if you constantly turn your attention to opposing images, no matter how insignificant or illusory they may seem. Don't talk about your past financial struggles, if you've had them. Don't think about them at all. Don't speak of your parents' poverty or the hardships of your youth. Doing any of these things mentally classifies you, even momentarily, as poor, and that will inevitably slow down the movement of things toward you. Leave poverty and everything associated with it completely behind. You've accepted this theory of the universe as true and placed your hopes for happiness in its correctness. What benefit is there in giving attention to opposing theories? Don't watch films that tell you the world is ending. Don't follow garbage diggers, those bloggers and journalists who chase scandals for clicks, or pessimistic philosophers who claim the world is going to hell. The world is not going to hell, it's moving toward God. It's a magnificent unfolding. Yes, there are unpleasant things in the current state of affairs. But what good does it do to study them, especially when they are clearly fading away? Studying them only slows their departure and keeps them around. Why waste time and attention on things that will be eliminated by evolutionary progress, when you could accelerate their disappearance by supporting that progress in every way you can? It doesn't matter how horrifying conditions may seem in certain countries, neighborhoods, or regions, you're only wasting time and destroying your chances by focusing on them. You must become deeply interested in the world becoming rich. Think about the wealth the world will inherit as it outgrows poverty. And remember, the only way you can help the world become rich is by enriching yourself through the creative method, not through competition. Give your full attention to wealth. Do not focus on poverty. When you speak with those who are poor, think and talk about them as people who are becoming rich, people to be congratulated, not pitied. That way, they and others will catch the inspiration and begin seeking a way out. Just because I tell you to devote your thoughts and time to wealth doesn't mean you should be selfish or dishonest. To become truly rich is the most noble goal you can have in life, because it includes everything else. On the competitive plane, the struggle for wealth is a godless fight for power over the creative mind. Everything changes. All that is great and elevated comes through the pursuit of wealth, because wealth enables the use of all things. I repeat, you cannot set yourself a goal more beautiful and noble than the goal of becoming rich. And you must keep your attention fixed on the mental image of wealth, excluding everything that could blur or darken that vision. Some people remain poor because they don't know that wealth is available to them. The best way to teach them is by showing the path to abundance through your own example and practice. Others are poor because, although they sense there is a way out, they are too intellectually lazy to make the mental effort required to find and follow it. The best thing you can do for these people is awaken their desire, by showing them the joy that true wealth brings. Still others remain poor because, though they have some understanding of the science, they are overwhelmed by conflicting impressions and lost in a maze of theories. They try to combine multiple systems and fail at all of them. For these people too, the best help is your example and practice. An ounce of action is worth a pound of theory. The best thing you can do for the whole world is to become what you are capable of becoming. You cannot serve God and humanity more effectively than by becoming rich, if you do so through the creative method, not the competitive one. One more thing. We claim that this video lays out the principles of the science of getting rich in full detail. If that's true, then you don't need to watch other videos on the topic. That may sound narrow or selfish, but think about it. In mathematics, there is no other scientific method of calculation besides addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. There is only one shortest path between 2 points. There is only one way to think scientifically, by thinking in the simplest and most direct way to reach your goal. No one has yet formulated a more concise or less complicated system than the one presented here. It has been stripped of all non-essentials. Once you commit to it, set all others aside. And remove them from your mind. Watch and listen to this video every day. Keep it in your favorites. Imprint its ideas into your memory and don't think about other systems or theories. If you do, you'll begin to doubt, to hesitate, and eventually to make mistakes. Once you've succeeded and become rich, you can study other theories as much as you like. Watch only the most optimistic videos, those that align with your vision. Also, avoid theosophy, spiritualism, and similar subjects. Maybe the dead are alive and nearby, but if so, leave them be. Focus on your own affairs. Wherever the spirits of the dead may be, they have their own work to do. We have no right to disturb them. We cannot help them, and it's doubtful they can help us. Even if they could, we likely have no right to intrude on the world alone, and focus on your task, becoming rich. If you start mixing in occultism, you'll create mental crosscurrents that will surely wreck your hopes. Now, this and the previous chapters have brought us to a statement of fundamental facts. There is a thinking substance from which all things are made. In its original state, it permeates, penetrates, and fills all the spaces of the universe. A thought in this substance produces the thing that is imagined by the thought. A person can form things in their thought, and by impressing that thought upon the formless substance, can cause the creation of the thing they imagined. To do this, a person must move from the competitive to the creative mind. They must form a clear mental image of what they want, hold that image with a fixed purpose to get what they want, and with unwavering faith that they do get what they want. Shutting their mind against everything that could distract, blur, or shake their vision or belief. And in addition to all this, they must live and act in a way that aligns with this path. Action. Thought is the creative force, the power that awakens other creative forces into motion. Thinking in the right way will bring you wealth, but you must not rely solely on thought while neglecting personal action. This is the reef on which many otherwise scientific thinkers crash, the inability to combine thought with personal effort. We have not yet reached a stage of development, if such a stage is even possible, where a person can create directly from formless substance without going through natural processes or the labor of human hands. A person must not only think, their personal actions must complement their thoughts. You may create gold in the heart of the mountains through thought, but it won't dig itself out, refine itself, or roll down the roads into your pocket. Under the influence of the higher spirit, the affairs of others will be directed so that someone else may mine the gold for you. The business dealings of others will be arranged so that the gold is brought to you. But you must organize your own business affairs in such a way that you can receive it when it arrives. Your thought compels all things, living and non-living, to act in ways that bring you what you desire. But your personal actions must be such that you rightly receive what you desire when it reaches you. You must not take it as charity, nor steal it. You must give every person more in useful value than they give you in monetary value. Scientific thinking involves forming a clear and definite image of what you want, holding to your purpose, and imagining with grateful faith that you are receiving what you desire. Do not attempt to project your thought in some mystical or occult way, hoping it will go out and do the work for you. That's wasted effort. And it weakens your ability to think clearly. The role of thought in becoming rich has already been fully explained. Positively impress your vision upon the formless substance, which shares your desire for fuller life. That vision, received from you, sets all creative forces into motion through their natural channels of action, but directed toward you. Your job is not to guide or supervise the creative process. You must simply hold your vision, stay focused on your purpose, and maintain your faith and gratitude. But you must act in a certain way so that you can receive what is yours when it comes, and so that you can recognize and place the things from your vision in their rightful place when they arrive. You can clearly see the truth of this. When things reach you, they will be in the hands of others who will ask for an equivalent in return. You can only receive what is yours by giving others what is rightfully theirs. Your wallet will not stay full without effort on your part. This is the critical point in the science of getting rich, where thought and personal action must be combined. Many people set creative forces into motion through the intensity of their desire, but remain poor because they fail to prepare to receive what they want when it arrives. Through thought, the thing you desire comes to you. Through action, you receive it. Whatever your action must be, it's clear that you must act now. You cannot act in the past, and for clarity of vision, you must drive the past from your mind. You cannot act in the future, because it isn't here yet. And you cannot know how you'll want to act under future circumstances until they arrive. Don't think that because you're not yet in the right business or conditions, you should postpone action until you are. And don't waste the present moment worrying about how to handle future surprises, trust your ability to meet them. If you act in the present while your mind is in the future, your actions will be divided and ineffective. Give your full mind to present action. You must not simply send out a creative impulse to the formless substance and then sit back and wait for results. You'll never get them that way. Act now. There is no other time than now, and there never will be. If you are ever to begin preparing to receive what you want, you must begin now. And your actions, whatever they may be, will most likely be in the business or work you're currently engaged in, and directed toward the people and things around you. You cannot act where you are not. You cannot act where you were. You cannot act where you will be. You can only act where you are. Don't worry about whether yesterday's work was done well or poorly, do today's work well. Don't try to do tomorrow's work now, there will be time for it when tomorrow comes. Don't attempt to influence people or things beyond your reach through occult or mystical methods. Don't wait for your environment to change before you act. You can change your current environment in such a way that you move into a better one. Hold the vision of yourself in a better environment with faith and purpose, but act upon your present environment with all your heart, all your strength, and all your mind. Don't waste time dreaming or building castles in the air. Stick to the vision of what you want, and act now. Don't overthink or search for some new, strange, or extraordinary action to take as your first step toward wealth. Most likely, your actions will be the same as they were recently, but now you must begin doing them in a certain way, which will surely make you rich. If you're in a business that feels unsuitable, don't wait to be in the right business before you begin to act. Don't feel discouraged or sit around complaining that you're misplaced. No one is so misplaced that they cannot find their right place. No one is in the wrong business so deeply that they cannot move into the right one. Hold the vision of yourself in the right business, with the purpose to enter it and the faith that you will, and that it's already happening. But act in your current business. Use your present business as the means to get to a better one. Use your current environment as the means to reach a better environment. Your vision of the right business, held with faith and purpose, will cause the higher power to bring the right business toward you. And your actions, done in a certain way, will move you toward that business. If you're an employee and feel you need a new job to get what you want, don't send your thought into the universe, hoping it will find you a new job. It won't. Hold the vision of yourself in the job you want, while you act with faith and purpose in the job you currently have, and you will surely get the job you desire. Your vision and faith will cause the creative forces to bring it to you, and your actions will cause the forces in your environment to move you toward it. To conclude this chapter, we add one more statement to our summary. There is a thinking substance from which all things are made, and which, in its original state, permeates, penetrates, and fills all the spaces of the universe. A thought in this substance produces the thing that is imagined by the thought. A person can form things in their thought, and by impressing that thought upon the formless substance, can cause the creation of the thing they imagined. To do this, a person must move from the competitive to the creative mind. They must form a clear mental image of what they want, and hold that image in their mind with a definite purpose to get what they want, and with unwavering faith that they do get what they want, shutting their mind against everything that could divert them from their goal, blur their vision, or shake their belief. And, in order to receive what they want when it arrives, they must act now upon the people and things in their present environment. You must apply your thought as described in the previous chapters, and begin doing what you can, where you are. And you must do everything you can, where you are. Progress is only possible by becoming better in your current place. No one improves their position by leaving any part of their present work undone. The world is advanced only by those who fully occupy their current place, not merely exist in it. If no one filled their present place completely, you can see that there would be a general regression in everything. Those who do not fully occupy their current place are a burden to society, government, commerce, and industry. Others must support them at great cost. The progress of the world is slowed only by those who fail to do what they should in the place they occupy. They belong to a past era and tend toward degeneration. No society could evolve if everyone were less than the place they occupy. Social evolution is governed by the laws of physical and mental evolution. In the animal kingdom, evolution is driven by surplus life. When an organism has more life than can be expressed through its current functions, it develops organs of a higher order, and new features emerge. No new features would ever arise if organisms merely occupied their place. The same law applies to you. Your progress in acquiring wealth depends on applying this principle in your affairs. Each day is either a success or a failure, and it's the successful days that bring you what you want. If every day is a failure, you may never become rich. But if every day is a success, you cannot help but become rich. If there's something you could do today and you don't do it, you have failed in regard to that thing, and the consequences may be more serious than you imagine. You cannot foresee the results of even the simplest action. You don't know all the forces it sets into motion. Much may depend on how you perform a simple task. It could be the key to a door behind which your greatest opportunities lie. You can never know all the combinations the higher intelligence is arranging for you in the world of things and human relationships. Your neglect or failure to perform a simple action may delay the arrival of what you want for a long time. Do everything that can be done today. However, there's an important caveat to this: you must not overwork or rush headlong into your business, trying to do as much as possible in the shortest time. You must not try to do tomorrow's work today, or cram a week's work into one day. What matters is not the quantity of work you do, but the efficiency of each individual action. Each action is either a success or a failure. Each action is either effective and appropriate, or ineffective and misdirected. Every ineffective action is a failure. If your life is filled with ineffective actions, your life will be a failure. The more you do, the worse it is, if all your actions are ineffective. Every effective action is a success. And if every action in your life is effective, your life must be successful. The reason for failure is that too many actions are ineffective, and too few are effective. It's self-evident: if you avoid ineffective actions and perform enough effective ones, you will become rich. If it's possible for you to make every action effective, then becoming rich becomes a precise science, like mathematics. So now we ask, is it possible to make every action a success? And the answer is yes, you absolutely can. You can make every action successful because all power is working with you, and all power cannot fail. Power is at your disposal, and you can make every action effective by infusing it with that power. Every action is either strong or weak. And when every action is strong, you are acting in a certain way that will make you rich. Every action can be strong and effective if, while performing it, you hold your vision and infuse it with all your faith and purpose. This is where people fail, by separating mental power from personal action. They apply the power of thought in one place and time, and act differently in another. Their actions are not successful in themselves, too many are ineffective. But if all power is concentrated in a single action, no matter how mundane, that action will be a success. And because the nature of things is such that every success opens the way to another, your approach to what you want, and its approach to you, will accelerate. Remember, successful action is cumulative in its results. Because the desire for fuller life is inherent in all things, when a person begins moving in that direction, more and more things align with them, and the influence of their desire multiplies. Do everything that can be done today, and do every action efficiently. When I say you must hold your vision while performing each action, no matter how ordinary or trivial, I don't mean you must see it in full detail every moment. That work should be done in your leisure hours, using your imagination to contemplate the details of your vision until they are firmly fixed in memory. If you want rapid results, spend all your spare time in this practice. Through sustained contemplation, your vision, down to the smallest detail, will become so deeply imprinted in your memory and so clearly transmitted to the formless intelligence that during your working hours, a mere mental glance at the image will be enough to stimulate your faith, purpose, and maximum effort. Contemplate your vision during leisure until it fills your consciousness so completely that you can summon it instantly. You'll be so inspired by its bright prospects that even the slightest thought of it will unleash powerful energy throughout your entire being. Let's once again summarize our program, slightly refining the final statements to reflect the point we've now from which all things are made. In its original state, it permeates, penetrates, and fills all the spaces of the universe. A thought in this substance produces the thing that is imagined by the thought. A person can form things in their thought, and by impressing that thought upon the formless substance, can cause the creation of the thing they imagined. To do this, a person must move from the competitive to the creative mind. They must form a clear mental image of what they want, and with faith and purpose, do everything that can be done each day, making every action efficient. Finding the right business. Success in any specific line of business depends on whether you possess well-developed abilities. Without musical talent, no one can succeed as a music teacher. Without engineering aptitude, success in any engineering profession is unlikely. Without tact and commercial skill, no one can thrive in trade. But even having the right talents for your field doesn't guarantee wealth. There are musicians with extraordinary gifts who remain poor. There are blacksmiths, carpenters, and others with excellent skills who never became rich. And there are businesspeople with great interpersonal skills who still failed. Abilities are tools. It's important to have good tools, but it's equally important to know how to use them effectively. One person may take a saw and a good blueprint and craft beautiful furniture. Another may use the same tools to copy the design, but produce clumsy work. He doesn't know how to apply the tools successfully. Your mental abilities are the tools with which you must do the work that will make you rich. So, you'll find it easier to succeed in a business where you're well equipped with the right mental tools. Generally speaking, you'll achieve the greatest success in a business that engages your strongest abilities. In other words, one for which you are naturally best suited. But even this comes with a caveat: no one should treat their profession as something permanently fixed by their natural tendencies. You can become rich in any business. If you don't yet have the necessary talent, you can develop it. This simply means you'll need to build the tools as you go, rather than relying solely on those you were born with. It will be easier to succeed in a field where your talents are already well developed, but you can succeed in any field, because you can develop any rudimentary skill. There is no ability you lack entirely. You'll become rich with the least effort if you do what you're best suited for, but you'll find the most joy in doing what you want to do. Doing what you want is life itself. We don't experience true satisfaction if we're always forced to do what we dislike and never get to do what we love. And surely, you are capable of doing what you want to do. The desire to do something is proof that the power to do it exists within you. Desire is a manifestation of the power to play music seeking expression and development. The desire to invent mechanical devices is engineering talent seeking expression and development. Where there is no power, developed or undeveloped, to do something, there is never any desire to do it. A strong desire to do something is clear evidence that the power is great and simply needs to be developed and directed properly. All else being equal, it's best to choose a business for which you have the most developed talent. But if you have a strong desire to pursue a particular kind of work, then ultimately, you should choose the work you're drawn to. You can do what you want to do, and it is your right and privilege to follow the business or calling that feels closest to your spirit and brings you joy. You are not obligated to do what you dislike, nor should you do it merely to someday do what you love. If the consequences of past mistakes have placed you in an undesirable business or environment, you may need to do what you dislike for a time. But you can make that work enjoyable by knowing it's leading you toward doing what you truly want. If you feel you're in the wrong profession, don't rush to change it. In general, the best way to shift business and environment is gradually. Don't be afraid to make a sudden and radical change if the opportunity arises and, after careful consideration, you feel it's right for you. But never make sudden moves if you have doubts about their wisdom. On the creative plane, there is no hurry, and no shortage of opportunities. Once you abandon the competitive mind, you'll realize there's no need to act hastily. No one is racing to beat you to what you want to do. There is room for everyone. If one niche is taken, another, better one, will open for you soon. There is plenty of time. When in doubt, wait. Return to contemplating your vision and strengthen your faith and purpose. And above all, in times of uncertainty, cultivate gratitude. A day or two spent contemplating your vision and sincerely giving thanks for receiving it will bring your mind into such close connection with the higher intelligence that you won't make a mistake when it's time to act. There is a mind that knows everything that can be known, and you can come into unity with that mind through faith and a purpose to grow in life, if you possess deep gratitude. Mistakes happen when you act in haste, or in fear and doubt, or when you forget the right motive. More life to all, less to none. As you follow the right path, opportunities will present themselves in increasing numbers. You must remain steadfast in faith and purpose, and stay closely connected to the higher mind, with reverent gratitude. Do perfectly all that you can do each day, but do it without hurry, worry, or fear. Move as quickly as you can, but never rush. Remember, the moment you begin to hurry, you stop being a creator and become a competitor. If you fall back to the old level, stop. Refocus your attention on what you want, and begin giving thanks for receiving it. The exercise of gratitude will always strengthen your faith and energize your purpose. The impression of increase. Whether you're changing professions or not, your actions in the present must be exactly what they should be for the business you're currently engaged in. You can move into the business you desire by constructively managing the business you already have, by doing your daily work in the right way. And since your business involves interacting with people, whether in person or through correspondence, the central thought behind all your efforts must be to convey to their minds the impression of increase. Increase is what all people seek. It is the prompting of the formless intelligence within them, seeking fuller expression. The desire for growth is inherent in all of nature. It is the fundamental impulse of the universe. All human activity is based on the desire for increase. People seek more food, better clothing, finer homes, more luxury, more beauty, more knowledge, more pleasure, more of everything. More life. Every living being is subject to this necessity for constant advancement. Where increase in life ceases, death and disintegration begin. Humans instinctively know this, and thus they always strive for more. This law of eternal growth was explained by Jesus in the parable of the talents. Only those who gain more will keep all, those who do not will lose even what they have. The normal desire for greater wealth is not evil or shameful. It is simply the desire for a more abundant life. It is a strong and natural impulse. And because it is the deepest instinct in human nature, people are drawn to those who can give them more means to live. By following the right way, as described in the pages ahead, you will receive constant increase for yourself, and give it to everyone you deal with. You become a creative center from which increase flows to all. Be confident in this, and communicate that confidence to every man, woman, and child you interact with. No matter how small the transaction, even selling a piece of candy to a child, infuse it with the thought of increase, and make sure the customer feels it. Convey the impression of advancement in everything you do. That way, people will perceive you as a progressive person, and you will uplift everyone who comes into contact with you. Even in social interactions where business is not involved, and you're not trying to sell anything, give the thought of increase. You can transmit this impression by holding unwavering faith that you yourself are on the path of growth, and allowing that faith to inspire, fill, and permeate every action. Do everything you do with firm conviction that you are a progressive person, and that you are helping others progress as well, and that in doing so, you are enriching others and bringing blessings to all. Don't boast or flaunt your success, and don't speak of it unnecessarily. True faith is never boastful. If you meet someone who brags, you'll find they secretly doubt and fear. Simply feel your faith and let it express itself in every action. Let every gesture, tone, and glance carry quiet confidence that you are becoming rich, that you already are rich. No words will be needed to convey this feeling to others. They will sense the growth in your presence, and be drawn to you again. You must leave others with the impression that working with you will bring them increase. Be aware that the value you give them is greater than the monetary value you receive. Be rightfully proud of this, and let others know it. Then you will never lack clients. People will flock to where they receive increase. And the higher intelligence, which knows all and seeks growth in all things, will send people to you who have never even heard of you. Your business will grow rapidly, and you'll be amazed by the unexpected benefits you receive. Day by day, you'll be able to make larger deals, achieve greater progress, and move closer to the work that truly resonates with your spirit, if you wish. But in doing all this, never lose sight of the vision of what you want, or your faith and purpose in receiving it. Let me offer one more caution about motives: beware the temptation to seek power over others. Nothing pleases the undisciplined or undeveloped mind more than the feeling of dominance or superiority. The desire to rule for personal pleasure has been the curse of the world. For countless centuries, kings and rulers drenched the earth in blood in their battles to expand their domains, not for richer life for all, but for greater power for themselves. Today, the dominant motive in business is the same. People command armies of dollars and devastate lives and hearts in the same mad thirst for control. The kings of commerce, like the kings of politics, are driven by the hunger for power. Beware the temptation to seek dominance, to become a master, to rise above the crowd, to impress others with excessive pride and ego. The mind that seeks power over others is competitive, not creative. To master your environment and destiny, you do not need to rule. And when you enter the global struggle for high positions, your environment and fate begin to rule you, and your journey to wealth becomes a matter of chance and speculation. Stay away from the competitive mind. There is no better way to express the principle of creative action than the golden rule of Jones of Toledo. What I want for myself, I want for everyone. The advancing person. What was said in the previous chapter applies just as much to professionals and employees as it does to salespeople or entrepreneurs. A doctor, teacher, or minister, if you can give others the feeling of increased life, they will be drawn to you, and you will become rich. A physician who sees themselves as a great and successful healer, and works to embody that vision with faith and purpose as described earlier, will come into such close contact with the source of life that they will be extraordinarily successful. Patients will flock to them. No one has a better opportunity to apply the teachings of this guide than someone practicing medicine. It doesn't matter which school of thought they follow, the principle of healing is universal and can be achieved by all. The advancing person in medicine, who holds a clear mental image of themselves as a successful doctor, will heal every curable patient they take on. In the field of religion, the world needs ministers who can teach their congregations the true science of abundant living. Those who understand the details of how to become rich, good, elevated, and loving, and who teach these principles from the pulpit, will never lack followers. These are the convictions the world needs. They make life fuller, and people will gladly listen and generously support the person who brings them. What's needed now is to preach the science of life from the pulpit. We want ministers who not only tell us how, but show us how through their own example. We need preachers who are themselves rich, healthy, elevated, and joyful, so they can teach us how to become the same. And when such a person appears, they will find many devoted followers. The same is true for teachers who can inspire children with faith and purpose in the advancing life. They will never be out of work. Any teacher who possesses this faith and purpose can pass it on to their students. They can't help but do so if it's part of their life and practice. What's true for the teacher, preacher, and doctor is equally true for the lawyer, dentist, real estate agent, insurance agent, everyone. The combined mental and personal action described here is infallible. It cannot fail. Every person who follows these instructions persistently, diligently, and literally will become rich. The law of life's increase is as mathematically precise as the law of gravity. Becoming rich is a science. The employee will find this just as true as anyone else mentioned. Don't think you have no chance of becoming rich because you work in a place with no visible opportunity for advancement, where wages are low and the cost of living is high. Form a clear mental image of what you want, and begin acting with faith and purpose. Do all the work you can do each day, and do every task in an exceptionally successful manner. Infuse every action with the power of success and the determination to become rich. But don't do this just to win your employer's approval, hoping they'll promote you. An employee who is simply a good worker, who fills their role with their best current abilities and is content with that, is valuable to their employer, and it's not in the employer's interest to promote them. They're more useful right where they are. To advance, you must be more than just too big for your current role. The person who will surely progress is the one who is too great for their current position, who has a clear vision of what they want to become, who knows they can become it, and who is determined to be it. Don't try to exceed your current role just to please your employer. Do it with the intention of advancing yourself. Hold your faith and purpose for growth during work, after work, and before work. Hold it so strongly that everyone who interacts with you, whether supervisor, coworker, or acquaintance, feels the power of your purpose radiating from you. Let everyone sense progress and growth in your presence. People will be drawn to you, and if there's no opportunity for advancement in your current job, you'll soon find one elsewhere. There is a power that always provides opportunities to the advancing person who moves in harmony with the law. God cannot help but assist you if you act in the right way. He must do so, to help himself. There is nothing in your circumstances or industrial situation that can hold back your growth. If you can't become rich working for a steel trust, you can become rich on a 10-acre farm. And if you begin moving in the right way, you will surely escape the grip of the steel trust and succeed on the farm, or wherever else you choose to be. If several thousand of its workers begin walking the right path, the steel trust will soon be in trouble. It will be forced to either offer more opportunities to its workers or exit the business. No one is obligated to work for a trust. Trusts can only hold people in so-called hopeless conditions as long as those people are unaware of the science of getting rich, or too mentally lazy to practice it. Begin this path with thought and action, and your faith and purpose will make you alert and perceptive, able to spot any opportunity to improve your situation. These opportunities will appear quickly, because the higher power working in all things, and working for you, will unfold them before you. Don't wait for the perfect opportunity to be everything you want to be. When there's a chance to be more than you are now, and it calls to you, embrace it. That will be your first step toward a greater opportunity. There is no such thing as a lack of opportunity for the person living the advancing life. It is built into the fabric of the cosmos that everything will work for them and all things will cooperate for their good. They will inevitably become rich if they act in the right way. So let every employee study this guide with great attention, and step forward with trust into the course of action it prescribes. Final statements. It will not disappoint. Many people will scoff at the idea that there is a science to getting rich. Believing that wealth is limited, they'll insist that social and governmental institutions must be changed before any significant number of people can acquire this knowledge. But that's not true. Yes, existing governments do keep the masses in poverty, but only because the masses do not think and act in the right way. If the masses begin to move forward as this guide suggests, no government or industrial system can hold them back. All systems will be forced to adapt to the forward movement. If people possess an advancing mind, believe they can become rich, and move forward with a definite purpose to do so, nothing can keep them poor. Any individual can step onto the right path at any time, under any government, and become rich. And when a noticeable number of individuals do this, they will compel the system to change, to open the way for others. The more people who become rich on the competitive plane, the worse it is for others. But the more people who become rich on the creative plane, the better it is for everyone. The economic salvation of the masses can only be achieved if a large number of people practice the scientific method described in this guide and become rich. They will show others the way, inspire them with the desire for real life, faith that it's attainable, and purpose to achieve it. For now, it's enough to know that neither the capitalist government you live under nor the competitive industrial system can prevent you from becoming rich. Once you shift to the creative plane of thought, you rise above all that and become a citizen of a different realm. But remember, your thought must remain on the creative plane. You must not, even for a moment, indulge in thoughts of limitation or act from the moral level of competition. If you catch yourself thinking in the old ways, correct yourself immediately. Because when you're in the competitive mind, you lose the cooperation of the higher intelligence. Don't waste time planning how you'll handle possible future surprises, unless they clearly affect your actions today. Your concern is to do today's work exceptionally well, not to worry about what might happen tomorrow. Don't trouble yourself with how you'll overcome obstacles that may vaguely appear on the horizon of your business, unless it's clear that your course must change today to avoid them. No matter how intimidating an obstacle may seem from a distance, if you continue on the right path, it will vanish as you approach, or a way around, over, through, beneath, or above it will appear. No possible circumstance can stop a person who acts to become rich according to strict scientific laws. No one who obeys the law can fail to become rich, any more than someone can multiply 2 by 2 and fail to get 4. Don't allow a single anxious thought about misfortune, obstacles, panic, or unfavorable conditions. All of that if and when it arises in your present, and you'll find that every difficulty carries within it the means to overcome it. Watch your speech. Never speak about yourself, your relationships, or anything else in a discouraged or discouraging tone. Never admit the possibility of failure, and never speak in a way that implies failure is even an option. Never say that times are hard or business is uncertain. Times may be hard and business uncertain for those on the competitive plane, but they can never be that way for you. You can create what you want, and you are above fear. When others are struggling, you will discover your greatest opportunities. Train yourself to think of and see the world as something that is becoming, that is growing. View what seems hostile as merely undeveloped. Always speak in terms of progress. To do otherwise is to deny your faith, and to deny your faith is to lose it. Never allow yourself to feel disappointed. You may have expected to receive something at a certain time and didn't, and it may seem like failure. But if you hold to your faith, you'll discover that the failure was only apparent. Continue on the right path, and if you don't receive that thing, you'll receive something so much better that you'll see the apparent failure was actually a great success. One student of this science set his mind on a business deal that seemed highly desirable at the time. He worked for weeks to make it happen. When the critical moment came, the plan collapsed in a completely unexpected way. It felt as though some invisible force was working against him. But he wasn't discouraged. On the contrary, he thanked God that his desire had been denied and continued to act with a grateful mind. Within weeks, he received an opportunity so much better that he couldn't have achieved it through the original deal. He realized that the intelligence which knew more than he did had protected him from losing a greater good for a lesser one. This is the path where every seeming failure will work in your favor, if you maintain your faith, hold to your purpose, feel gratitude, and do, each day, everything that can be done that day, doing each action successfully. When failure strikes, it's because you asked for too little. Keep acting, and something greater than you sought will surely come to you. Remember that. You will not fail because you lack the talent to do what you desire. If you act as instructed, you will develop all the talents needed to fulfill your work. This guide does not aim to teach the science of developing talent, but that process is just as certain and simple as the process of acquiring wealth. Do not doubt out of fear that when you arrive at a certain place, you'll fail due to lack of opportunity. Keep acting, and when you get there, the opportunity will be waiting. That enabled the uneducated Lincoln to perform the greatest work ever done by one man in government is open to you. You can draw wisdom from the universal mind to meet any responsibility placed upon you. Act with full faith. Study this guide. Let it become your constant companion until you've mastered every idea it contains. While you're building this faith, it's wise to avoid clubs and places where opposing ideas are promoted in lectures and sermons. Don't read pessimistic literature, don't watch similar videos, and don't argue about this subject. Spend most of your leisure time contemplating your vision, cultivating gratitude, watching this guide, and listening to what it teaches. It contains everything you need to know about the science of getting rich, and you'll find all the core principles summarized in the next chapter. Summary of the Science of Getting Rich. There is a thinking substance from which all things are made, and which, in its original state, permeates, penetrates, and fills all the spaces of the universe. A thought held in this substance creates the thing that is imagined by the thought. A person can form objects in their mind, and by impressing their thought upon the formless substance, can cause the creation of what they imagined. To do this, one must shift from the competitive to the creative mind. Otherwise, they cannot come into harmony with the intelligence of the formless substance, which is by nature always creative and never competitive. A person can come into full harmony with the formless substance by maintaining a lively and sincere gratitude for the blessings it bestows. Gratitude aligns the mind of the individual with the mind of the substance in such a way that the formless receives their thoughts. One can remain on the creative plane only by staying united with the intelligence of the formless through deep and unwavering gratitude. A person must form a clear and definite mental image of what they wish to have, to do, or to become, and they must hold that image in their thoughts while being deeply grateful to the higher intelligence for the fact that all they desire is being given to them. The person who desires to become rich should spend their leisure hours contemplating this vision and giving sincere thanks that it is being fulfilled. The importance of frequent contemplation of the mental image, combined with unwavering faith and reverent gratitude, cannot be overstated. This is the process by which the impression is transmitted to the formless and the creative energies are set into motion. Creative energy works through established channels of natural growth, and through the industrial and social order. Everything included in the mental image will surely be brought to the person who follows the instructions given above and whose faith does not waver. What they desire will come to them through the established pathways of trade, and when it is ready to come, the person must act in a way that makes them more than just someone who occupies their current place. They must keep in mind the purpose of becoming rich while carrying out the realization of their mental image. And they must, each day, do all that can be done that day, ensuring that every action is successful. They must give every person more in useful value than they receive in monetary value, so that each transaction promotes more life. And they must hold the thought that the impression of increase is being transmitted to everyone they interact with. Those who practice the above instructions will undoubtedly become rich. And the wealth they receive will be directly proportional to the clarity of their vision, the steadiness of their purpose, the consistency of their faith, and the depth of their gratitude. Watch until the end, like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. Let's grow together.